Pois é.
Miscellaneous expenses.
Tax worries. The Tax Act, you file for less and get your maximum refund. You're gonna need this. Oh, other way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Switch to Tax Act and start for free.
Want to discover the French culture? Take off to Paris with French Bee.
Welcome everybody, welcome to the stream. My name is Jose, I am a Golden in Kendo, and today we're going to be watching and talking about Kendo. Watching some Kendo videos from some 7-dan tournaments. I know I've been using this past year's All Japan 7-dan championship, but I also want to mix it up now with some other tournaments as well. I know the French Open happened this past week, so there's the finals that I think it's a very interesting fight, so hopefully we get to enjoy it. Frank, yes, I do need YouTube Premium. Yeah, I need to get on that. I haven't done that. I normally just put the videos, like let the commercials pass by and then I play, but I guess I forgot to mute it. I'm setting myself up. I'm transitioning to another computer, so kind of forget where I plug all the stuff. So, how's everybody doing today? I hope you guys had a great Kendo week and you guys have some good training. I know some people are getting ready, or some people have been doing some events. Kind of missing competition. I haven't competed in a little while after the pandemic, so I'm saving myself some money to do some traveling coming up soon. So hopefully I can join some good competitions soon. And yeah, I have a little announcement. I am setting up a stream with a friend of mine that is a sports psychologist, and I believe we're gonna be able to do that for next week. I just haven't I haven't confirmed the time yet for Saturday or Sunday. So please, if you would like, I'll make it public once I confirm it. So probably by Monday or Tuesday, it will be set up. But if you could, make sure that you set up a reminder, because I'm very, very excited to have this stream coming up, because there's a lot of things that I feel that are going to make a big difference in our approach to Kendo and our approach to how we train, to get us more benefits and more progress as we train. So very excited for that. I will recommend for you guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel and have that reminder set up, because I think it's going to be a very interesting stream. That being said, let me just make sure that I finish setting everything up on the videos that I have going on. And also today I will be doing a video review from one of you guys that sent me a video to watch here and to analyze, to see how can we find some improvement. Again, if you guys would like to do that, if you'd like to send me some videos, make sure that you just send it to me through Discord. The Discord server is completely free. The link should be coming up, and this way you can, if you have any questions, you can talk to me there. If you have, there's a big community that's being very active, and I hope that you guys can find some good friends and some stuff there if you travel. Bronze Damon. I'm planning to do a live coverage to AKC in 3 months. If you have a date and a channel, send it to me and I'll totally plan that out. I would like to also have a couple of friends maybe joining, or maybe do it like I did for the last EKC, where we did it live and you guys joined through voice chat in the Discord. I think it's a very, very cool concept, so we can talk about it, give a little commentary. But yes, the plan is there, and I just don't know, I don't have the details on it yet. So if you have a link for the stream, yeah, send it to me. You'll be there, right? Is this so soon? Damn. I feel like it was just 4 months ago when it happened. So my plan, I would like to cover it. And damn, May? Last year, was it in May as well? Where is it going to be? But if you find the link for their stream, yeah, please send it to me, and if not, I'll try to see who do I have over there that could help me out to set that up. But where is it going to be? I'll be in France. Okay. That's going to be fun. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. So yeah, good luck to everybody. I know the Open France just happened, and I think France, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't watch too many videos on that, but I think France won, right? Like team got the final. Hold on, give me a second, guys. I just want to make sure that everything is set up here. Oh, Keio, the university team. That's crazy how they're like, now we're getting all the schools to go there. So it's funny because like I feel like at some point if this keeps going, it's going to be like Japanese teams traveling everywhere and just having international tournaments, which it's good for the competitors to get that experience, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's a weird position. I feel that some people never had this experience before, so and many people want to go in there just to understand. Granted, the Open France is a very competitive tournament, so that will be the place to do it. Another place where I normally see this happening is in California. Seen it in Detroit as well, but actually no, in Detroit I didn't see it where it was a school team coming in, but a lot of Japanese people come in to compete there, so it's very interesting exchange. Okay, I believe everything's set up. I have everything going on. Let me do this. Let's go into the first video. So the first video that I want to do, see. Okay, let me set it up. Okay, this is the first video that I got from Lily. Sent me this video in the Discord server, and she actually, this is the second time that she sends a video, and it's very interesting because I think you can see the evolution from the previous video into this one. So what I wanted to do is kind of want to go over what happened in this fight, see if we can find out some things, some room for improvement, but also I would like to point out the things that are happening that are good. One of the big reasons for this, and this comes from my research in sports psychology as well, is that we focus so much in what we do bad that we don't see the good things that are happening, and this kind of holds us back to getting faster and quicker improvement. Anyways, like that's a topic that we can talk about next week one in here. Lucky, just dropping by to say hi before your practice starts. Thank you for passing by. Thank you very much. You're always welcome. Guys, if you haven't, please hit the like button. It really helps out this channel and this video to get pushed out to more people out there. Okay, so I always like to start the videos as if I could on this part right here before the Sonkyo. Why? Because I think it does show the mindset where you're coming in. And one thing that I always try to do is to try to make sure that it's all the time consistent. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not kind of like wobbling, I'm not behind, I'm paying attention to when it's my time to come in, and then come in and try to lead the tempo from that moment. What that means is that I try to make sure that I don't, like, stuff like this doesn't happen. So watch this. Like, comes back in and come back out, and then come back in. This kind of starts playing around with our, let's just call it insecurities, where we're not sure, and I try to avoid putting myself in this situation. This is number one. Number two thing that I try to do here is I try to be the first one going in, because it kind of also, I don't know, it's, I feel that in a mindset, it helps you be committed to what you're doing at this point. That makes sense? So I try to not be hesitant as I'm walking into the court. this is just my first point that I always like to keep in mind. Ars Cranario, thank you for passing by. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so from here, so I like the fact that she took 3 steps. She took 3 steps in to make it where it's a comfortable stepping into the position where she's going to do the Sonkyo. The reason why I say this is because many people just take one little step in there and then they have to kind of like walk awkwardly into the line to do the Sonkyo. And this kind of shows your lack of understanding for the distance and kind of just takes the judge's eyes away from you. So my mentality is that I want the judges to be looking at me, right? Like you want to show the judges from the beginning that you belong there and there's a big chance that you're gonna be the one taking the Ippon. Like if we're talking about like psychology in here, right? Okay. I know people don't really talk too much about this part right here, about the Sonkyo. I feel that also the Sonkyo needs to be controlled, firm on the way down. I feel that here it's a little bit too fast. Right? Like it's a little bit too fast. It's not constant speed. And I'm not saying that this is an aspect that's going to make your Kendo better, or I shouldn't say this. It wouldn't make your Kendo better immediately by just fixing this problem, but it does have a result that is going to make it where, again, the judges see you in a more positive way. And also, I feel that you're going to be readier. You're always engaged. You're engaging your legs on the way down and you engage your legs on the way up. Make a big difference, in my opinion. Ours, during your first Shiai, you only did 1 step in, and of course you didn't get to the distant right because you had no idea how many you were allowed to take. Yeah, and that's again, that starts playing like with your confidence. You want to make sure that when you come in, you're confident and you don't look like you don't belong there. So this is one of the biggest things for me when, like, especially preparing people for Shiai the first time, so like for beginners, is that you want to make sure that everybody, when they walk into the court, they feel comfortable and they just do what they need to do without having to be getting like extra directions or whatever, because it starts mixing you up. Discipline. Yes, I was going to mention that the taito, the hand, and I always like to bring the Japanese words into English, so don't think that anyways. This right here. Like you see, towards the end, she fixed it a little bit, but even the elbow is a little bit too high. You want to have it, but especially here, it's way too tense, way up here. Let me just make sure. I cannot see my camera right now, so let me, hold on. Okay. Oh. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so like the elbow being right up here, like, too much tension necessarily should be, shoulders, same way as it will be in Kamae, just, slightly, it's not even slightly back, because you want your sword pointing forward, so you don't want your hand to be back here. You do want to have it, both of them, with the forward intention towards the opponent. Caitlin, your sensei very much made you learn how many steps you have to take for Sonkyo so that you knew beforehand. Yes, very important practice. I don't think it gets discussed enough because everybody's so focused on, let me get an Ippon, that these details kind of go unnoticed. But especially you see this on team fights where somebody, it's a higher rank and they have to fight somebody that is a very low rank. Even when they're both coming in, the judges are already kind of like, this person is the one that is going to win. Like, regardless what happens, even if you're trying to be unbiased, there's something in your brain that might tell you, this person is gonna show me something good, so let me look at this side. So you want to try to avoid looking like you don't belong there. Also, you want to make sure that you're confident as you come in. So, Caitlin, it's about impression. Yes. It's also not only about that too, but it's also about you feeling confident. Especially when you're competing, your brain will fight you. And many times, the way that you talk to yourself inside of your head as you're fighting may give you positive or negative results. And you want to avoid giving your brain an excuse to tell you something bad, right? Like you want to avoid telling your brain saying things like, "Ah, what are you doing?" You know, like you practice this, whatever. No, you want to try to stay confident in the course of the fight, which is another topic that I want to talk about during my stream with sports psychologist. Okay. The video is not very long, so what I want to do is I want to play the video first. Sorry, I think you guys had no volume there. Let me know if it's too loud. Let's look at some of the things that happen, and then we'll go back and analyze the little pieces of it. Very good attention or keeping the connection with the opponent. Ars, let me know. Can you hear the video now? The Marketers, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. Okay, so no video at all. So how come you guys were hearing the... okay, hold on. Okay, sorry, I'm still learning how to work this little machine thing that... Okay, you guys should hear the video now. Let me know, please. Confirm. Nice. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. Let me write down some notes too. There's a couple of things I want to discuss here. Nice. Nice. Okay, before I discuss the Ippons, I want to say that Lily asked me to look at. Let me just make sure that I'm not quoting her wrongly. She's talking that her swing feels awkward, and she cannot pick out why. So I'm gonna look at that specifically too as well. Caitlin, I don't know exactly where this tournament was from, but I think it's a between dojos tournament, like a local thing. Yes. So I don't think it's a big tournament, because if I'm not mistaken, she said that they do this monthly, maybe, which I think is a great concept. I wish we had enough people down here and friendly communication where we can make this happen, because I think it's a great way to not only improve for each other, but also to kind of promote people to do better, right? Like, so I this is such a cool concept for me. Even if you can do it at your own dojo, some dojos have enough people to do it, and if you do that maybe like once or every month or every 2 months, I think it's a great way to kind of like build up the dojo in so many different ways. Okay, there's one thing again. I always like to, and this has been a very interesting topic this week specifically, and it's being focused during your practice or during your Shiai as well. For me, normally I try to just always exclusively have my attention on my opponent. I try to avoid looking around to see if I got a flag. Normally what I do is I either wait for the judges to scream Yame, or I try to put the judge like behind my opponent or to a point where I can see that if the flags are open or are up, whatever, but I always try to keep my attention to the opponent. That being said, this little part right here, if you look at white, it's like a little bit before here. Yeah. So right here, both of them, they're kind of like just taking the eyes from each other. So to me, this kind of breaks the tension, right? Like breaks the intention towards the opponent. It might be insignificant, it might not be a very important thing, but for me, I try to always keep my attention on my opponent. I don't know. It's a thing that I do. Ours, you're saying you tend to look for the flags and get distracted. Yes, and the biggest problem not only is the fact that you can get hit as you move your head around, you move your eyes around, but also it kind of takes away from that feeling that I am coming in for my opponent and I don't care about anything else. So in the dojo, we're talking about this in the dojo, that sometimes people like they're practicing, they're doing like hard kirikashi, they're doing anything like, you know, very active, and then somebody opens the door and they have to stop to like look back, right? So this type of things is very little details, but it kind of shows that you're not fully into this moment of practice. So for me, it's a very, very important to keep myself into it. So it's kind of like lately I notice this as well on myself, because obviously if I'm leading the class, I have to be aware of what's happening with everybody else. So it's a very interesting approach, especially when we have like beginners fighting. I want to make sure that they're safe. So I'm fighting, but at the same time, I'm worried about this other side. So it's a very interesting mechanics in my brain, I guess, that I'm still getting used to. But I always try to just exclusively just pay attention to my partner. Discipline. Got to use your peripheral vision to see the flags to stay focused on your opponent. Yes, and that's what I mean. I want to put the judges in a point where I can see them without having to turn. And you don't want to be like, okay, even if you make distance and you go to the side, yeah, you don't want to do that. But my preferred way is just get myself screened by the judge saying Yame. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna look a little bit at the swing and some of the aspects happening here. Okay, let me just go a little bit slow motion real quick. I think the intention for the men here, sorry, hit the wrong button. I think the intention for the men here was very good. I think the swing is also good. For the Hikiwasa here, I love the intention. I love the engagement into it. And I just think that it was not a point there, because there wouldn't be the possibility to have a point there, because both of them were engaged and trying to do something as they went out. This is a very important point. Many people, when they close the distance, they just kind of just relax, and that's when an opening happens. So here, both of them were engaged. I think it's very good. The one thing that might be affecting the swing here, it's how stretched the hands are even before the time of commitment. So I find at the dojo, many people do this for different reasons. They extend the hands for different reasons. One, maybe because they're just tense and they're just eager to attack. So they immediately put their hands forward. So let me just make sure here. Oh, where's my little shinai here? Oh, hold on, give me a second, guys. Sorry. Okay. So when people are in kamae, when you're in kamae, you want to be able to have your hands relaxed and close to your body. If you think about this, if you have your hands away from your body, it's also a way to kind of put yourself out of balance, especially if you're too tense, right? You want to make sure that you will have straight posture and your hands are with you. And I like to use my hands, I like to move my sword to try to open the center using the tip of my sword, but without extending my arms. For me, the way I see it is that I lunge with my legs first, I then engage my hands, and what it does, it adds speed to the motion. So if my sword is moving at X speed because my feet are pushing forward, then it accelerates when I move my hands. But if I start my motion with my hands forward, then start moving, then there's nothing I can do. Maybe just Tenouchi. It will be the only addition of speed I can have. But the biggest thing right here, it's gone. So you want to come in with a relaxed upper body, and you want to choose the right moment to throw your hands, which I will be making a video hopefully this week about it. So stay tuned for that. Now, also, when you're stretched up like this, there's very little motion that you can do to either move your sword around your opponent's shinai or even to deflect. So you always want to keep your hands closer to you so you have more mobility as you use your left hand to move the tip of your sword. So that's one thing. That's one thing that happens. One reason for this to happen is that people are just too eager to come close and to hit. The other one is that they want to have the tip closer to the opponent, but they feel afraid of closing the body. So they kind of want to keep the opponent in check, or they think that by doing this, they're going to keep the opponent in check because you have the sword closer to them, but they don't come in with their body. But this also brings a bunch of other problems, like the person can attack and then the feet are completely disengaged to counter or to move anywhere. Countless of reasons. What you really want to do is you want to come in again with your body, with your upper body relaxed, and have that engagement, so that when you throw your technique, you can accelerate at the last moment. I was gonna say something else. Discipline, you said, Bryn looks and sounds like she's gripping the shinai too tight. You can hear in the impact of the men's strike. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to that, but I think you might be right as well. Gripping as you, and this is also another consequence. The tightness of your grip is another consequence of having your hands extended from tension. Because you're tense, you're tensing up your arms, but you're also tensing up your fingers, which takes away from your ability of applying tenouchi into the sword. And again, it just creates another set of problems. So finding out the right position of your hands and the right amount of tension and relaxation is crucial for the development of good kendo. So, as a matter of fact, I believe my last two videos have been about this. Maybe not my last two exactly, but a couple of my last two videos have been specifically on this because it's such a big point. And I know many people is focused on the hands, on throwing the sword forward, that, yeah, I felt the need to have to make a video just about that. Hope that makes sense, if you guys have any questions. But long story short, what I'm gonna say is that Lily, if you want to go to the next level, is going to be finding out how to approach your opponent with a little bit of more relaxation in the upper body. Feel like this is a little bit too tense. Also, and you can see discipline. I think you can see your point right here on this swing. Let me go back. The fact that, hold on. I feel that if you can look at the hands here, the hand here, there's relaxation of the wrist. This is very good. I like how you came up here. But then at this point right here, after you pull with the left hand, I feel, I might be wrong, because obviously also the resolution is not the best, but as you're coming down here, the sword and the hands start moving kind of the same speed. I think it favors you. Okay, what do I mean by this? And again, I'm being extra picky because I think this was a great execution. But when your wrists are too tense, your sword moves with your hands. Ideally, what you want is that you're moving the arms and then the sword kind of rotates forward, so it adds speed. So it's a difference between doing this. It's a difference between moving the sword like this, right? And then moving the sword like this, right? So even though I'm moving my arm at the same speed, the tip moves faster. This is a very interesting concept that maybe people don't really pay attention to. But again, if you have flexibility in your wrist, you are able to, if you have flexibility in your wrist and control of your hand on putting pressure into the shinai, put force into the shinai, it adds the speed to the motion. So if you move without any flexibility, the swords move like this. But if you do this, you can see that, especially with the proper timing, the arm moves at one speed, but then the sword accelerates towards the end. And again, my last video is specifically on this too, so you can check that out. Hope that makes sense. But that being said, that tension, that extra tension takes away your ability to use tenouchi to improve your strike. Very good though. I think it was very good. Very good approach, very good intention. So, that being said, guys, why? This is something common that we see at low levels, right? People just going through and not really paying attention to their partner. So, I'm just gonna use all the English words. But you want to have a connection between yourself and the opponent at all times. So when you go through, one of the reasons why we have the concepts of Sanshin and Sutemi is because you want to come through with power and speed. You want to give everything so that way it's easier for you to have continuation of the movement. Why? Because if you were not successful and you're too close and you slow down, and you turn slowly, you're vulnerable to a technique. Look at this. So I feel that, okay, maybe White had a good intention of the technique, right? But at some point, right about here, kind of the connection between the opponent and yourself is broken. White lost the connection with his partner. So when they start slowing down here and then just turning like so casually, Red is able to come in and catch White by surprise. So, guys, welcome to the stream. Caitlin, what were some mistakes that I made from my first Shiai? I'll tell you in a second. If anybody, actually, that's a very good question. So if you guys can chime on that, like what are some of your mistakes that you made on your first Shiai? That will be a cool thing to talk about. But look, right here, right about here is just slowing down before the turn. That being said, the best thing you can do for your kendo is understand how to turn sharply, to not necessarily slow down gradually before you turn. Be able to stop yourself sharply, turn around, and be ready. Be ready for another technique right there and then. Okay? Best tip that I think you can get for a low level Shiai. That being said, if you're on the other side, always be ready to attack again. So that way, if you have this opportunity, you don't want to miss it. Gas, what do you mean? Is this a viewer submission review? Yes. Somebody sent me this video. Yes, correct. Somebody sent me this video, and I'm going over this. Yeah, from the Discord server. Okay. What was I gonna say? You want to make sure that you have this connection with your partner. Some mistakes that I made when I first started, my first Shiai, based on the instruction that I had the understanding that it was all about power. So when I came in for my first Shiai, I came in thinking that, oh, if I am always pushing, if I'm always trying to strike, if I'm always trying to, be the strongest person in there, I'm going to win. And yeah, that didn't quite work out. Let's just say I disregarded technique completely. I just went in there just to just play whack-a-mole, I guess. And this doesn't work out because the basics and the foundations that we train at the dojo have a purpose, and that purpose needs to be executed into the Shiai. So you want to have a good energy, a good intention against your opponent, but you don't want to just think that physicality is the only factor that's going to get you to win. That being said, the second thing that I feel that I messed up with is that I wasn't really there. I wasn't really attentive of everything that was happening. I was, I guess, too surprised with the whole event, the whole thing, and it just kind of didn't register what I was doing. So that another tip, and this is something that I till today I like to do, is that when I'm in practice, when I am at the dojo, I try to visualize myself at the event, thinking that every practice that I'm doing is part of my competition. And then when I'm at the competition, I try to make sure that I'm there, I'm present, I'm attentive to everything that's happening. But at the same time, I also have this feeling that I've been doing this already. So that for me has been kind of like one of the biggest ways for me to prepare mentally for Shiai. And again, that's something that we'll probably talk about this in more depth next week with my guest. Ours, your first match was against a 4Dan who was also yours. Okay, sorry about that. Actually, I think my second or third, funny story, my second or third Shiai, I was EQ probably, and I went and I don't know why it was. I had to fight a Sandan, right? Like if I remember correctly, a lot of the tournaments that I used to go, they were like in queues, like all the queues together. Maybe I was Shodan then, and I had to fight a Sandan, but another sensei introduces me to the guy that I'm about to fight. He's like, "Oh, Jose, here, come. I want you to meet this guy. He's the guy that you're gonna fight." And I remember like seeing the kendo gi that he was wearing, and he had, like the tears that you get sometimes from your dohimo, and like he had all these tears around him. Like, you already know this guy goes hard just because of how much training he had on that kendo gi. That kendo gi had more experience that I had in the whole time that I've been doing kendo. So that being said, I was very proud that I lasted pretty much the whole time of the match, but I didn't win, obviously. But that was, and that goes again with your mental mindset before the match, right? It's like you don't want to throw yourself off. Like I feel like at that point I was kind of beating myself down or putting myself down, thinking that, or maybe just putting the other person up. I don't know, but yeah, don't do that to yourself. Caitlin, oh my god, against your 7Dan sensei. Okay, that's fun. Yeah. Okay. Great point, great opportunity taken here. Again, I see a lot of tension, and I'm stopping here for a second because of the of the requests that I got to look at the swing. But I think Tenouchi, if I have to say one thing to work on that will probably give you good results, is going to be work on understanding how to use Tenouchi. Because Tenouchi is not only about making the swing faster and also sharper, but also to control when you miss your swing. So here, again, I feel that the motion, you're using your left hand to push, but at the same time, I feel like maybe you're pulling a little bit. It's hard to see from this angle. Maybe you're pulling with your right hand. But then at the moment of the strike, you see, there's this type of like motion that the sword makes that it kind of shows that you were not really in control of the moment of the technique. If you look at like the 7-dan tournaments, and we'll see some of those, you're gonna see very often that when they miss, the sword doesn't go out on control. Of course it happens sometimes, but most of the times that swing is very sharp and it looks like, you know, it hit a ghost, like it landed anyways. So, great attention. One thing that you might want to look at, it's understanding a little bit better how to effectively put force in your footwork. So as you see here, okay, you're using Ayumiyashi. I personally try to avoid Ayumiyashi when I'm so close to my opponent, right? I wanted to do just tiny steps. I feel like this puts you in a very big step. But then if you see this step here, when you do the Fumikiri, it pushes you up, right? You do leap forward too. That's exactly, you know, very good that you push yourself forward too. But you're losing power by going yourself forward. So you're almost, it's interesting because the timing of hitting in Kendo, it's, okay. Let me just do this. Timing of hitting in Kendo is very important. So if this is you and this is your opponent, right? Let me just put it like this. This is the man of your opponent. If you hit and you land your Fumikomi down, your Fumikomi is gonna push up. So there's a time where if you land right after your Fumikomi or right with your Fumikomi is pulling the sword up. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, you know, pushing the sword up. So it takes away from the impact. And the same thing happens if you hit as you're going up in your swing, in your body. If you're going up in your body, again, your body is pulling the sword up. But instead, if you're hit right at the moment where your body's coming down, but not quite when it landed down, this helps you transfer the energy that you build up from the momentum of your body into your sword to make sure that you have a stronger impact. So if you're hearing that you don't have a strong impact, if you feel like you don't have a strong impact, this could be some of the reasons for that. So again, if you hit somebody right with your Fumikomi and your Fumikomi happens to be right at the time of impact or right before the time of impact, your body or your hands are going to bring the sword up and it's going to take away from the energy. If you hit the target mid-jump or on the way up, again, your body's going to take away from the impact. But if you land the hit right before your Fumikomi, as your body is making its way down, you get to transfer the energy from the momentum into the sword. I hope that makes sense because, you know, I don't want you to create bad habits. And I think this is a very interesting topic because sometimes people try to compensate for not having a good enough impact by hitting harder with their upper body. And a lot of times this actually makes things worse. So I always like to look at things starting from the footwork and build up. So again, if you look at this point right here, if you look at this moment right here, what I'm trying to say is that the swing is making the impact as the body is going up. So it could, I'm not saying that it did in this instance, but it could take away from your impact by having the body go up as you're trying to bring the sword down. So again, the timing of the strike and how you move your body and how the body's movement and how the body's moving at that time is crucial. It's very important to understand how to do it. Roy, you're saying your first Shiai you lost, horribly lost. Your second Shiai you won first place. Awesome, cool. But what were some of the mistakes that you did on that first Shiai? Discipline, you're saying why needs to have sharper pivot on the lead foot to have a quicker turnaround. Yeah, and this is something that we can break down and study as well. This is also very important. I like the fact that red is coming in, right? It's not holding back. So it's at least putting herself into the position where she is going to take the opportunity. Now, what I would try to do again is work on those small steps and having the back foot kind of coming a little bit sharper as they come close. I really like how she brought the legs close in here and bringing the legs to the point where it's ready to push forward, right? But then look what happens right after. Oh, wait. No, maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. I was talking about this position. Okay, so brings the leg forward. And then this is the problem. You start moving by moving your left foot or your back foot forward. So you should have pushed immediately from that back foot or have that back foot closer to push from there. But it almost looks like, you're crossing the feet to then push. This, even if it's a little detail like this, it makes an awkward way of pushing forward that makes you take longer to get there. You feel that you can get closer to the opponent, but it takes longer. That being said, you're extremely close to your opponent. So at this point, pretty much all you have to do is just swing down and you'll be able to have your tip on top of his man. What you want to do, you want to put the tip of your sword on the man. You don't want to go in with this area right here, right? So you need little movement from this distance in order to get a good point. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. I don't know how I feel about this chase after the strike, right? I feel that at this point, getting somebody that has a little bit more experience will probably cut that dough. So be careful with that. Be careful as you chase people after the technique. After the technique, you want to go through. And you want to find the quickest way to re-engage into the fight. But I feel that this chase kind of actually took you longer and put you in a position where it could actually be harmful for you. And now I feel that your opponent kind of fell from the same trap. You see, like at this point, now you were the experienced player and you took that point. Very good. And this is the reason why I always say you always want to be mindful for the next technique. Please, when you practice your Kihon, when you practice, not your Kihon, when you do Jigeiko at your dojo, don't just calmly or don't just separate. be engaged. Even if you don't do a technique, be engaged. So if there were an opportunity, there, you could take it. But many people I see, they fall into this habit of just walking back and just disengaging, which no, you want to make yourself always ready for the next fight. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Again, maybe practicing suburi and focusing on your tenouchi will be a big thing that is going to give you good results. Also, try, because you want to, I feel that you have much more engagement from the last fight that you sent, but you want to keep working that up. And one way that I like to do for understanding the engagement of my feet is that try to do your suburi where you engage your legs slightly before you engage your hands. So I think this is going to give you much better results. Also distance. Practice, slow down, break it down, understanding what the proper distance for impact is and getting good impact at that distance. Okay? If you need anything else, if I can help you with anything else, again, you can message me in the Discord. Everybody, guys, if anybody would like to be part of the Discord, what I'll do is, let me send the link here. It's free. You guys don't have to pay anything, and you can send me videos there. You can contact me there, and there's also a bunch of Kendo people there that you can talk to, especially if you travel. You know, it'll be a good. I think it'll be a good connection to start meeting people and going to practices in different places. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, the next video that I want to share has to do with the Hachidan tournament. Not Hachidan tournament, Nanadan tournament. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you guys would like to help support the channel, please check out the joining system. Hold on, I'll put the link right here. It's a good way to, get some extra perks. There's a couple of things that I have planned for the people that are a member of the channel, but also it's a good way to support these videos and help out with the production of this stuff. What did you say, guys? You said that you'd still ours. I have a video of a casual chef yours against a Sandan. How can I submit it for review? Also, yeah, if you could please go to the Discord, join the Discord. I just sent the link out there. That will be the easiest way. If you have it on YouTube, will be the best. If you don't have it in YouTube, we can coordinate there. And at the worst case scenario, you can also write me on Instagram. That's also, viable. Anyways, but thank you, guys. Thank you for the assist. Discipline your takeaway from this, loosen grip a bit and make you reset faster to be more alert. Timing was a good score hit and attempts your score to improve mechanics. Yes. And again, guys, this past year for me has been working on the mechanics. And I have a friend of mine that he's the one that helps me with training as well, like physical training outside of the dojo. That he focuses on biomechanics, and every time that you talk to him, it's all about biomechanics and understanding how your body moves you and your sword. So understanding all these things and the timing of things, and it's very important. So do that, but also do not forget that you do have to have power behind this. So my breakdown on my way that I like to work on this is first focus on the movement, the motions, the technique, and then add power to those things. So this is my formula, I guess. Anyways, guys, this is from this past 7-dan championship. There's 2 fights left on this, and let's kind of look at some of the details and compare. Not compare, because obviously I wouldn't want Lily to feel that you have to match up to the Nanadan, right? But kind of like look at the elements that they have that we want to put into our kendo. Okay, starting with your approach to the core. Steps, solid, stable, and make it right onto the line. Now, by the time that they go to the line, they already have their sword drawn. Drawn? Yeah, drawn, right? And you see the control as they're going down. You see how straight their bodies are. Their hands are not excessively forward. They are in a comfortable forward position, but keeping their balance. And most importantly, look how sharply they get up. And immediately when they get up, they are on Kamai. Very important, very important. Look how small the steps are to close the distance. They're not just blindly going in. Oh. Uchimura is very dangerous because of how quick he can change the, what's it called? Oh, he can change the angle of his sword, or like the track, the path that his sword is taking. So this is a very, very cool way of approaching. Notice also how he moves. It's very important when you're trying to create an opening, when you're trying to use your sword to create an opening, that your legs are engaged at the time or even before you use your hands to do this. Why? Because if there is an opening, you want to immediately take advantage of it. But if you start moving your sword first and then you think about engaging your legs, then you always be late. Your opponent will be able to kind of catch that and defend against it. So even though this is not an Ippon, I think that this is a very, very good way of approaching this. So watch. Look, first the legs are going to move. You see the body's coming in forward, moves the sword. Moves the sword and his body is in motion. His body is in motion before he decides to throw the sword. This is the right way to approach using your sword to open your opponent. If your feet are planted as you do this, you will not be able to catch the opponent in time, and you, most importantly, not going to have a good impact on your opponent. Legs are so important, guys.
公式戦だと内村選手の方が若干分がいいかと思いますけど、全日本の合宿とかでもですね、試合をするんですけど、その時は決してね、網代選手も内村選手に勝つこともありましたし。
Look at the use of footwork. Look how sharp but relaxed his feet are, Nishimura's feet, as he's coming in forward. This is also a very important point when it comes to understanding Fumikomi. Fumikomi is not about the sound. Fumikomi is about what it does. And what it does is to pull you forward, to create momentum for your technique, right? To create fluidity in your body motion. And if you look at this here, you can hear that there's a sound from the Fumikomi, but he's not purposely hitting the floor to make a sound. It's just the way that his foot is, and what happens is a consequence. The sound is a consequence. But the foot pulls forward. You're gonna see real quick, as the right foot lands, pulls forward. Helps the body come in forward. Very cool engagement. That's a very, very scary position to be in. Uh, okay, actually, discipline, you're talking about the floors. There's another secret to the sound here, though. And this is actually a very good point. Very good point we talk about this. Guys, you guys know why the sound... Okay, first let me finish reading the comment because you might be answering this before I say something here. Discipline, you said, come on, Jose, you know those floors over there are so good. You get a good sound all the time that travels the whole room. Yes, yes, but have you guys noticed that when you're watching, like, for example, the All Japan that they do at the Nippon Budokan, you can hear every little step, right? Well, guess what, guys? Maybe you can't see it in this angle, but a lot of times, if you pay attention, you're gonna see in the borders that they have microphones on the floor. So this is why you can hear every little tap, every little thing, and a lot of times it's because of that. So another reason why you want to not focus on the sound of the fumikomi, because a lot of times it might be a lie that we're getting. It might be an illusion of what we're getting. So again, it's not about the sound. And yes, the floors in the multi-purpose gyms hurt like hell, yes, when doing fumikomi, especially if you do it wrong. So you have to understand how to do it properly. Again, don't focus on hitting the floor hard. As a matter of fact, this week, my goal is going to be this coming weeks, because I'm not going to fix this in a week, is to do stronger fumikomi. But by stronger fumikomi, I don't mean let me hit harder. I mean, let me pull myself harder so I can have more momentum after my technique. That makes sense? And yeah, please don't fall into this illusion of hard sound, because yes, they do have strong fumikomi, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times what we get or what we see, the impression that we have, it's from this specific things. Guys, Kendo at the dojo 3 times. Lately, technically 2, because one of those days is pretty much myself at the dojo, because right now, sometimes people just don't show up on specific day of the week. But I make them make it up with the days they do show, so it's okay, I guess. Oh, I'm not gonna talk about those little holes in the floor, man. Like I feel like I'm gonna shred my foot every time I see one of those things. You see the tension, and we were talking about the extension of the arms. This extension of the arms is not there, right? The upper body is relaxed even as they close the distance, but the tension is in the footwork and in the grip of the hand as well. Understanding how to keep a firm but also loose sore. Guys, if you haven't, take a second please and hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. And subscribe if you haven't as well. Kakari Geiko. you think the most common issue with people's fumikomi is misunderstanding the kikentai, off kikentai. People try to stamp with their foot at the same time as hitting with the shinai instead of hitting and landing naturally after the contact. Yes, we're talking a little bit about that before, but it's very important to start understanding this point. Hopefully I can make a video. This is part of what I'm going to make a video about this week. Of course, that comes from Nishimura, right? And this is what I talk about Nishimura sorry, not Nishimura, Uchimura. The ability to change the path of his sword is so good and so fluid. Watch the ability to move the sword as he approaches the opponent. It's a very interesting mixture of relaxation and tension, and when to apply tension on the sword. So if you break it down a little bit of what's happening here, the first thing you're going to notice is that the feet approach. The forward foot comes closer, the back leg is engaged, and then as this happens, he moves the sword around using the left hand. If you look at the left hand, let me go a little bit back. The right hand pretty much stays in place, only moves in, let's say, in the y-axis. It's only moving up and down. Of course, there's some leeway there, but the left hand is the one making the sword move in that circular motion, right? Then moving the sword to one side, bringing it up by pushing with the left hand. Yes, the right hand is following the shinai, but it's moving because the left hand is also pushing forward. Then from there, he lines up the angle of the shinai to hit the striking area and throws the hands, again, putting power from the left hand. You see, he catapults the tip by pulling with the left. Very, very important detail. Many people, when they're in this position, they just throw the right hand. That's not what's happening here. Very cool and very good way to move the sword fluidly. And again, it all starts with proper footwork. Discipline. The Super Serie A in this one is a little confusing. Not sure if there's COVID rules and there's higher ranks rarely go to for Hikiwasa. Actually, we did see Hikiwasa in this tournament. Some of the previous fights that we watched, they did Hikiwasa. But I was thinking the same thing. There was a separation earlier, which I'm not going to go back because I think, it would be hard to find it. But they were kind of like disengaged already at this point. I do think that it has to do with the cover rules, with the temporary rules. That being said, even though they were in Kamae, you could feel the disengagement. I disagree with this part. So guys, if you're practicing and you're using these rules and you get these rules in the tournaments you attend to, do not separate with a disengaged mind. Always stay in the fight. And if the person decides to do something, you can be ready. If they don't, okay. It's not like you wasted anything. You know what I mean? So, guys, you said the accuracy for this kote from the side is so good. The secret to that? It's how you line up your sword. What you have to do, you have to pretty much match the angle of the shinai. Now, granted, because he raised the sword here, it was hard, and I think that's why he didn't get the kote, and he had to actually move it sideways slightly. That's why you see this broken elbow right here. Like when I say broken, I don't mean like it's broken as in harmed, but you don't see the connection forward, right? And it's because he had to actually hit sideways a little bit. I think this is one of the reasons why they didn't give the kote as well. But the secret to having a accurate kote on awkward angles is to match up your shinai with the angles of the shinai. Now, you have to anticipate. You see, like you're going to say here, oh, Jose, but these angles don't match. This one is this angle here, and this one is the different angle. Yeah, but he's not lining up with where it is. He's lining up where it would be. You know what I mean? So, again, I might be like over examining this or being extra picky, but This is the way I see it. The way I see it. In Japan, you're allowed to stay in Tsubasari for the exact duration of a day. So it's quite hard. So yeah, it's watching Kakareko, watching Hoshiko is a great for studying this. Correct. Hoshiko, I think, has a very good example of this point. I want to see more of Kunitomo though.
そうですね、はい。あれで、なんていうんですかね、攻めのこう糸口を探っているような足の使い方をするんですね。内村の足の使い方学べっていつも学生には。はい。
そうですね。言われて
So if you guys are looking to improve your kendo, guys, watch how they move. Watch the footwork. So I always say, guys, especially when there is no point, this is the most dangerous part of the match. Right at the encho, right at the beginning of encho. A lot of times people tend to be overconfident and just throw something in there, cost them the ippon, or they're just too passive. You have to approach it, I think, in my opinion, like it's a brand new match.
コロナ禍で延長戦をずっと続けるっていうのがやはり生理的な負担が多くなるので、一回休憩を挟んでっていうことですね。
お客さんも増えますね。
この YouTube を見てる人たちすごく多いと思います。
This right here. This right here. Look at that step from Uchimura. Look, very sharp, very short, and always trying to stay ready with that back foot. The back foot is going to be your powerhouse. It's what's going to make you explode forward. And if it's not anchored, he can do that.
内村選手は外国人にすごく人気がある選手です。そうなんですか。多分外国の人もすごく見てると思いますね。
本当にレジェンドですもんね。
I really like the Kamae from Red though. The way he has his back leg.
面ですね。
I knew he was going to lose because I know the finals, but I still like his Kamae. What made, in your opinion, what made this attack successful?
面ですね。完璧ですね。
If you watch, let's break it down. Ours, yes, he broke his kamae. He did break his kamae. Why did he do it? And look at all the interesting things that are happening within this fraction of the shiai. He puts pressure with the front leg. He even looks like he's tilting his body forward, but his back leg is ready to explode forward. Okay, many times when people try to copy this, what they do is they do the same thing. He puts the weight forward, but they disengage the back leg completely. The back leg is what's going to get you to go forward, so you cannot forget this. Very, very good engagement of the back leg. Okay, after that, he decides to do an extra step, a very sharp and extra step to close the distance. Immediately re-engage the back foot, but this caused Red to overreact, to kind of be in the defensive mode very quick and very suddenly, that he decides to go forward for a technique. But because Uchimura already had momentum forward, he's able to transition into his technique immediately and able to catch the opponent before he gets thrown or before he gets scored on. So very interesting step. Now, granted, he starts from a very, I'm not gonna say very far distance, but he starts from a healthy distance. He closes in by putting that pressure with the front leg, steps in forward, and another thing, guys, look how he pushes forward. He pushes forward and he keeps his body in a straight line. You see, he's not dipping, and then he's not losing stability as he comes forward, immediately engaging the back leg and pushing forward to throw the technique. Very good. Very good. Well, discipline. What do you mean Amashiro looked defeated? He was defeated. Like, yeah, he was done. Let me catch up with some of the comments, guys. Guys, so going forward, yes, going forward was kind of like the trigger to all of this, right? The bridge into getting the technique. But not only it's about going forward, but also having the control to change the timing. It is also very important that you notice that from there, it wasn't only about going forward, but also about controlling his approach. He took one step, that step almost looked like it was going to be the attack, but it wasn't. And then he was able to throw the technique. So you have to practice the balance between, let's say if you think about it as a car, when you accelerate, when you don't accelerate, when you put the brakes, because that timing, that change of timing, the sudden acceleration, sudden stops, all these things play with what reaction you're gonna get from your opponent. So he was able to use all these tools to create an opening and then get his technique. Hope that makes sense. Red didn't react to it because Red thought it was just another feint, but that's exactly what Y was counting on. I agree with you. I just cannot say that this is exactly what he was thinking about, because at this thing, I think like those decisions are like a fraction of a second. But yeah, I like this is exactly like, I think that's right. Also, guys, I guess this, let's call it pullbacks, or let's call them, because I'm not gonna say that you don't accelerate, but you kind of put the brakes slightly, like, okay. I see it like, you know, when you have a stop on the road, that you put your brakes, but you don't stop. I think this is a little bit kind of the feeling for Tame, right? You stop, but you don't. I don't know if that makes sense. I think this is a funny way of seeing it, but you can compare Tame, I think, to going into the road and thinking that, okay, look, you're about to stop, but you don't. You could clearly, maybe the car is not the best analogy because, you know, there's all other aspects to it, but because you should be able to do a clear, defined step, but your momentum has to stay with you. You cannot just take that first step. One of the things that I feel that made it so successful is that first step that he took, let's see. One of the reasons why I think this was successful too is because that first step that he took, it was a clear step. That first step that he took was a clear step, but his momentum was still with him. It was his decision. Actually, this is not the exchange. Hold on. Okay. If you look at it, he takes a defined step. Wait. I went too far back. Sorry, guys. So he puts the pressure forward. He takes a defined step, but his momentum is not broken. He still has momentum in his body, and if he sees the opening, he uses it. And that's what's happening here. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of like that you're coming into a stop, but you don't fully stop, but you do stop. So I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know. I think just a funny way of seeing it. Let me catch up with some of these comments. Kakarigeko, you say I think it's because of his height that he developed so many ways to close the eye for men's strike over the years. I'm not gonna say it's because of his height. I think it's just because of his experience. He had so much experience to exchange with so many different types of kendo that I think makes it very knowledgeable on how to approach people. I'm gonna say I don't necessarily agree with the whole thing with the height because, for example, I feel that Teramoto has the same skill as well. Right? He has this skill too. It's just different heights as well. I think everybody can have powerful kendo regardless of their height. Caitlin, love this analysis versus helpful, especially when they move too fast for you. That's why we have slow motion in YouTube. You know, that's just how I get to see a lot of my Ippons when I don't see them. Discipline, you mean his demeanor, that sulking feeling? Yeah, and you know, I'm guessing if you are able to see I know what you're saying, and I'm gonna catch up everybody. I might have joined later. You're talking about that red look defeated after the men, and I think the biggest part is that because maybe he saw himself in the finals. You know, he was visualizing himself in the finals, and maybe like this moment kind of like killed it for him. Maybe. Some take a loss on the chin while others really look demoralized. Yep, and it's natural. Aaron, you began to thinking about it as having the engine revving, but your foot ready to release the clutch. Yes, exactly. That same feeling as well. But the reason why I said use the stop rather than the clutch, is because when you're using the clutch, you're not you didn't come from motion, right? You already stopped. So you have that first step when we talk about tame. In my opinion, in order to have tame, you have to have motion prior to this. You have to have, a little bit of energy at least starting. Whether it is just your upper body, whether it is just your hips, anything, you need to have this a little bit. So that's why I use that analogy rather than the revving of the engine. But yes, same concept. I was gonna say that, but I just read that you just wrote it, that many people don't drive manual. So yes. Also, that doesn't work for some people. So, but I think again, the stop may be a better analogy in that sense. Same concept. Kakarigeko, good point. Kakarigeko, it's always a good point. Always do kakarigeko. Okay, I think I started a little bit late, but also I'm going a little bit over. So I think I'm going to cut it off for here. We have one more match in that tournament. There are other 2 7-dan fights that I wanted to break down today. But if I start with those, I think we're going to go forever. Guys, you say seme involves motion already, so tame should naturally come from motion, you guys. Yes. And again, we could talk here for days about this because there's a lot of different things that are involved. When it comes to seme, it's not just one thing. It's not just your feet, right? It's your feet, your intention, your mind, your sword. There's so many different elements that could be added to this. So this is why it takes so long for people to grasp what seme is. So I often relate it to rhythm, that you can really you cannot make somebody feel the rhythm. They have to feel it on their own. So kind of same thing, I guess. Anyways, guys, if you haven't, please hit the like button of the video. That really helps the channel. If you haven't, obviously subscribe. I'm putting again the link for all the stuff. So one is going to be the Discord. The other one is going to be for the membership of the channel. If you like to support the channel, it will be a great way of doing so, because it will help me bring more stuff for you guys and make a lot of the ideas that I have in mind possible. So it's always really appreciated. But regardless of that, guys, I'm here doing all this stuff because you guys keep me motivated to keep learning and to keep bringing all this stuff. So I always appreciate your feedback, whether it is here or in the Discord. I will appreciate for you guys to do that, and I'll be willing to help as much as I can. If anybody has any questions, please send them my way before I cut it off, because I want to make sure that you guys have a good rest of your weekend and we get to do some good practices. Oh, yes, and discipline, you just reminded me. Next week, I'm trying to set up a stream with a friend of mine who is a sports psychologist. So we already talked about this. We're going to not do only one stream. We're going to do a series of streams. We're just going to separate them with a little bit of time in between. But I think because sports psychology is such a big, has so much development into benefits for our daily living, and definitely a big connection into Kendo. So our focus for next stream, or for that stream that we're going to do, is going to be how sports psychology can help in Kendo, and how concepts of Kendo are connected to sports psychology. Mostly the four sicknesses of Kendo, right? So we're going to explore that a little bit on next stream, and then so on. We're going to be able to work further into developing that. And if you guys would like to get some help personally on stuff like that, I'm sure that she will be able to either answer your questions here or work with you if that's something that you would like to do. Any other things? Okay, you say, Gas, happy training. Yeah, everybody should go get some good practices. Aaron, thanks for the stream. You gotta go to Kendo class. Yeah, me too, so take care. Please, everybody put your bell icon so that way you get the notification, and I'll make sure to, at least in the Discord, leave the link as soon as I get it for the stream. And ours, you can relate to many things from sports science. Interesting enough, I am, maybe some of you guys don't know this, but I am a certified health coach. I went to school for music therapy, and my main field of work was, because I'm not working on that right now, addiction treatment. And a lot of the research that I used within my practice for addiction treatment and health coaching has been from sports psychology, because a lot of those things are learning how to deal with everyday life and the things that we need to do to be not only physically fit, but also mentally fit. So hope you guys will get many benefits, and this is one of the reasons why I want to do the stream, and I'm very excited for it. So I hope to see everybody here. Please share the channel with as many people as you can. I'm also so close to 3,000 followers, so subscribers. So I'm very excited for that. So if you guys can help me out, it would really mean the world. Anyway, guys, I don't want to take more of your time. If you guys have any questions, please pass by the Discord, leave them there, or just leave them in the comments of any of my videos. I will read them up and try to answer them the best I can. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.